Can everybody ask yourself, could you, if you were given a more difficult type of ugly looking equation like that one, can you find the slope and the y-intercept? Did you get that correct? The slope is -3/7 and the y-intercept is -11/7. Again, if you didn't have a chance to get this one done, kind of write down the answer and then try it on your own. Okay, how about number 9? The answer should be 4. Number 13, I usually get students asking me to do this one.
Yep.
Want me to do it?
Yes.
Okay. So, you have 2 ordered pairs, and you are asked to find what t would have to be in order for the slope to be -2. So what are the 2 ordered pairs? The 2 ordered pairs are t plus 1, comma, and 5. So that's your x and that's your y, and then the other one is 6, comma, -3t plus 7. Right? And I want my slope to be -2. Everybody agree with this information?
Yes.
Well, what does, remember this is your x and that's your y. Do you remember the definition of slope? What do you do with the y's?
Find the change.
Okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna subtract, I'm gonna take these 2 quantities, slide them, subtract them. So it's 5 minus, what am I gonna do?
Parentheses.
Parentheses, good job. Very smart. Okay, everybody agree with that? 5 minus, I have to subtract this whole thing. Now the bottom, you're gonna do t plus 1, and you're gonna subtract what? 6. I want this fraction to equal -2. So what do you think you do next? Before you cross multiply, distribute and clean up what you can. So if I distribute the negative, right? Just distributed it. Can I add these 2 up? Why not? Okay, now, well, actually, let's combine these 2. Let's not have to distribute more than what we have. And that'll help. Okay, so next. Now we're going to cross multiply. Well, what's 1 times anything? We multiply these 2 together. What do you get? 3t minus 2. Now what about this deal right here? I heard 2t plus 10. -2t plus 10. Now add 2t, you get 5t. Add 2, 12. Divide by 5, 12/5. Questions? Anybody want this? You need that? You have it? Okay, how about 17? 17. Find the equation of a line that passes through 3, 5 and has a slope of 1. I wrote it in both forms. This is called point slope. And this is y-intercept. Make sure you can answer either form. I could even say write it in standard form. What would the answer be? Answer would be -x plus y equals 2, or x minus y equals -2. And that would be standard form. Okay, the next one. Find the equation of a line that passes through the given points. I wrote 3 different answers for you and they're all good. This would be the answer if it were in slope-intercept form, and either of these for point slope form. For 25, check these out. We're talking about PQ. P has the ordered pair 2, 5, Q has -1, -1. If you looked at PQ, And if you plotted those and connected the dots, you would see some form of a slope. How do you figure it out mathematically? You do the difference of the y's over the difference of the x's, and you should get 2 for that. And you do the same for RS. You can plot them, or you can just jump right into the formula, 2 minus 1 over 4 minus 6. You should get negative 1/2 for the slope for RS. Now, if you compared these two slopes, what do you know about them? Well, they're opposite signs. One's a positive, one's a negative. One's 2, one's a half. So these are opposite reciprocals. Therefore, these two are perpendicular. If you were to graph them, connect the dots, you would see that PQ intersects RS at 90-degree angles. Questions? You get this? Okay. Now, on the other hand, if you look at question 29, and by the way, one of these will be on your test. Very simple. This one, 29, is asking you, are these two lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Well, these ones you have to figure out what the slope is. So get them in y equals mx plus b form and analyze their slopes. Both of these have the same slope, -2, therefore they're parallel. Questions? Now, what if one was -2 and one was +2? What would you say? Neither. They're not parallel, they're not perpendicular, it's just two regular lines. Questions? Okay. Number 37 or 41 will be on your test. I want you to write an equation of a line that passes through 2, 3, but I want it to be parallel to this line. So, the only thing I need out of this line is what the slope is. So what I did was I solved it for y equals mx plus b, and I got 3 over 2 as my slope. I don't care about the y-intercept, so I stopped. I don't care. The y-intercept is -5 over 2. But really, all I want is 3 over 2. Because I want it to be parallel. Now, if it said perpendicular, what slope am I going to use? -2/3. Good. So if I wanted to pass through this point, I like point slope form. I plug the 3 here, the 2 here, and the slope. And then the last thing you're going to want to do is distribute. If it says write it in slope intercept form, distribute and clean it all up. And you should get y equals 3 over 2x. The y-intercept is actually 0 for this one. For 41, I want you to write the equation of a line that contains -1, 3, and the slope is perpendicular to the line that goes through these 2 points. So what you have to do is find the slope of these 2, which is 1, and then flip it and change the sign to get the actual slope that you want, -1. So it's perpendicular to this, so you want a -1 here. It's perpendicular to this, so you want -1, and then these are the ordered pair that you want here. So, and then I wrote this in slope intercept form for you. Questions? Okay, so for 52, here's the answer to 52. For 52, sales of a software company, it increases linearly. That means that your slope of your line is positive, it's going up. So as the years go up, your sales goes up. Who are you looking for?
Quarterback.
Burback? She's not here. I don't know where she's at.
I know they don't give out rooms yet, but I know she hangs with you a lot.
Yeah. No, we're doing the schedules, I don't know. Okay, sorry about that. So what they're telling you in this problem, and you're gonna have one of these on your test, that they don't want you to use they don't want you to use 1996 for the year, they want you to use 0 is a representative for the year 1996. They want you to use 1 would be 97, 2 would be 98, 3 would be 99, and 4 would be 2000. So they give you the facts for the 96 and the 00. 1996 is 120,000, and the year 2000 is 180,000. Since the sales is increasing linearly, we can use these 2 ordered pairs, because we have 2 points, 2 points determine a line. If you use those two ordered pairs, you can do the difference of the y over the difference of the x's and get the slope. That's the rate of change, how the sales are increasing every year. So therefore, if you subtract these two and you divide it by the difference of these two, then you got your slope. So it's a rate of change of 20,000 a year. And now where do you see this 120,000? It's right here. Your y-intercept is your zero, your year zero, your beginning year. So that's how you write the equation. Then I want you to use this equation to figure out, project the sales for the year 2001. Well, for the year 2001, well, if 4 is 2000, 5 would be 2001. So plug a 5 into this equation and do the math. Make sure you multiply these two first and add 120, you get 220,000. Questions?
I put in point to the form, but I still get the same answer, is that
Let me hear what you wrote, as long as it's right.
right? I put y minus 1999 equals 20,000.
1999? Oh, you did the year.
Yeah.
No. Oh, they want you to use, for this, they want you to use 0. Now, if you use 0, did you get the same answer when you did the math?
Yeah.
Did you get this answer, 220? Okay, so you use the year instead. Yeah, I guess that's okay.
Alright.
Let's make sure. Good question. You're the first one, and like,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
that's how you do it.
There you go.
You guys are funny.
I look.
Okay, so you got 220,000?
Yeah.
Now,
I don't have any
question.
work, so I don't know how I did it. I don't remember.
Oh. I know, it's gonna go sketchy.
Come on.
Okay,
They
let's-
definitely probably.
Now,
Mine is
I did it for this one,
ahead of my
and you
head.
will get the right slope. I just don't know if it works when you plug it in
I got
into the equation. I have to check it out.
220,000.
Did you get what?
I got 220,000.
You did? How about for this one? Did you do the next one? No, you didn't do it? All right, here's the next one. Same kind of concept, but now they're talking about poverty level. Okay, for this one, the poverty level income for a family of 4 in the year 1981 was 9,287. So they're asking you to use, and I tried it here. I used the year, and you do get the right, I did it both ways, and you do get the right slope. You get 449. So 20 would represent the year 2001. So if x is 0, that's the year 1981, and the year 2001 is a 20. And I did it both ways. I did it this way using the year, and I did it this way using a 20 minus 0. And you do get 441. Now, I think where you're gonna have a problem, and I know you will, is if now they wanna know, if you put, you won't get the right answer. If you plug in a 1990 in here, that's different than a 9. So how'd you get the answer? Yeah, you need that x equals, otherwise your equation's gonna be different. Yeah, unless, let's
I
see.
haven't put so far, I don't think that'll change it,
All right, we'll have to try it. We'll have to try it. So you put, this is what you did. You wrote in point slope form, how did you write it?
but, I think I just added it together, like, I figured out how much was going up each year, and I just added it for 2 years.
We'll have to try that. Because if you use, okay, these 2 years, it would be 1981, 9,287, and then 2001 in the year, and this amount is 18,000. Let's see if it works, because if it does, then we're good. So this is an ordered pair, and this is an ordered pair. If we use the years, instead of saying x equals they're saying you do it this way, use 0 and use 20 for these. Let's say we don't, then yeah, you would have to do point slope. You'd have to say, well, let's use this one, You would do y minus 9,287 equals, the slope's gonna stay the same, 449, and then times x minus 9,000, no wait, this is y, yeah, 1981, that's what you would do. So now, let's check this out, let's test this, see if it works. If it does, then we're good. So if we want the year 1990, so you would put 1990 here, 1990, let's see if we get the same thing. 1990, so let's do it. So we've got 1990 minus 1981, you get 9, then times 449 equals, and then add 9,287. And you get 13, and it works. So yeah, you could do it that way, John. You could do it that way. The only thing is, you're not gonna get it in slope-intercept form. You will have, if you don't wanna use the year 0 and 20, if you want to do it this way, I will take it. I will take it, so that works. If you use these two, then do point slope form. So when they say, figure out what the sales are for the year 1990, you use 1990. Don't use the x equals 0. Don't use that, use the year. Do you get it? Is everyone understanding his question? So that works, that's fine with me. So the two answers should be 13,328 and 20,063. I just learned something. And the last question. A hat company has fixed costs of $50,000 and $850 for variable costs. Do you guys know what that means? What's a fixed cost and what's a variable cost? Absolutely not. Okay, someday you might want to open up a business. Let's say you like skateboards and you want to make skateboards, okay? And you want to open up a place where people can come buy skateboards. Well, you know when you go buy a building, you know you got to pay for the building. You know you got to pay for electricity. You got to pay for gas. You got to pay for water. You got to pay insurance. You got to pay building insurance, and you got to pay taxes. You got to pay all these things. These are called fixed costs. Every year, my dad owns a woodworking shop. He's got to pay like $13,000 a year in taxes. Those are part of fixed costs. $13,000. That's it. It's a lot of money. So then he's got variable costs. What varies is when he starts buying stuff and he starts making that doesn't go towards the production of what he makes. So now what this is if this company makes hats, it costs $850 to make a hat. Maybe they're making those caps that you guys like to wear. You know, those caps. Isn't there a place called Lids?
Yeah.
Lids? Okay. So it's lids.
Yeah, you know.
$850 is how much each hat makes. Each hat costs to make. So that's your variable cost. So now this is your equation. Your $50,000 is no matter what, whether you make one hat or no hats or a million hats, you still have to pay that $50,000. That's your rent, your insurance, your water bill, your electricity, all that stuff. That's the cost of just having a building, okay? It's $850 to make the hat. So X represents the number of hats you're gonna make. So they're asking you, what's the average cost? Average. So spread it over the number of hats you're making. So if you make 20,000 hats, your total cost is $220,000. That's your total cost. Your total cost, if you made 20,000 hats, your total cost is $220,000. If you divide that over making 20,000 hats, that means each hat will cost about $11. Each hat is $11. So now what if we decide to make 50,000 hats? You do 50,000 times 850 and add 50,000, your fixed cost. That 475,000 is your total cost, but if you divide it over 50,000, it's $9.50 each hat. Then we move on to make 100,000 hats. 100,000 times 850 plus 50,000 is 900,000. That's your total cost. Divide that by 100,000 and you get 9. It's $9 a hat. So what are you realizing by doing this problem? That the more hats you make, the less it's going to cost per hat. That's what you should get out of this. Questions? Anybody?
Can you go back to 53?
I sure can. 53. So 53, which way do you like better? The x equals 0 and 20, or do you like the year?
Or B, please.
B?
Yeah.
Okay, B. You would have to know what each of these years represents. If you use this formula, you have to put a 9 in. What we figured out is you can't plug in 1990 in here. And you can't plug in 2005 in here. You'd have to use the 9 and the 24 to get these two answers. But if you do it his way, about the point slope form, you can use the years. You just aren't gonna get your equation in the slope intercept form. Are you good?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, now, done with lines. Now we're moving on to numbers, patterns of numbers.
Sorry, that means you're kicking in. How was your birthday yesterday?
It was nice. I went to Hannah's for dinner.
That's nice.
Trudeau.
Thanks for the invite. It's lost in there.
And I got a Tory Burch purse. Does anyone know who that is? Designer purse. Tory Burch, and I got a Prada wallet, or not a Kate Spade wallet. So I got some really nice gifts. I'm spoiled. Okay, and here's for you guys.
Process.
No, de nada.
No, thank you.
Okay, before you guys leave today, I need everyone to grab a purple Precalc book. You need to fill out a form. Can you do that? Can you do that?
Yeah, well, let's do that. I just managed to.
to get a regular copy.
Eighth grade freshman sophomore.
Yeah.
I'm taking this test. I don't really understand it.
Yeah.
I stopped walking the hall. She's like, oh. What up? You eat Spanish fries? All in Spanish. I'm like,
See if I can get a glass for Check it out.
Went to the wash a couple times last year. Taking it easy, bro. I got 3 books today. I guess not even like used. None. So yeah, I
Did you
used.
get the biggest book?
And that's a big set. The friend of mine.
Okay, here guys, wanna grab one of these, fill it out quickly, and make sure I get it back before you leave. Make sure you don't trip on the floor. Okay, the assignment that goes with this is section 1.3. It's page, hang on, it's page 29, 1 through 43. Yes. Yes. And it's odds. Yes. Now, we're not gonna finish this today. I only have 20 minutes. But we're gonna do as much as we can, and the rest we'll finish on Monday. So do the best that you can. Let's talk about sequences of numbers. A sequence, it's a list of numbers in a certain order. Sometimes you're gonna see an infinite and I wrote points of ellipses, that's, if you see the dot, 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 that goes on to infinity. And if you don't see the dot, 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 it means it's finite. Finite means it ends. Okay, sometimes sequences of numbers have a special pattern. If the pattern is adding the same number to each term, we call it arithmetic. It's an arithmetic sequence. You guys remember this from last year? Okay, look at these two examples. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. This one is arithmetic. Why is it arithmetic? Because if you're going from the first term to the second term, you're adding 3, and you're adding 3 to get to the third term, and adding 3 to get to the next term, and so forth. So there is a common difference. So this one, the common difference is 3. This one is arithmetic. It is. This one is not. It's adding a different number, so this one is not arithmetic. Okay, not. What about the next two? Would you say yes or no? Is this sequence arithmetic or not?
Yes.
Yes. What's the common difference? 2. So you added
No,
2.
that's geometry.
So this one is not.
D.
There is no D value. How about the next one?
Yeah, D is.
If this one is arithmetic, we have a common difference, and it looks like we're adding 4. D is 4, so this one is. All right, now, do you guys remember the little a sub, so you have 1, 5, 9, and so forth, 13, 17. Okay, dot, dot, dot. Last year, we called this a sub 1. We called 5 a sub 2, a sub 3, a sub 4, a sub 5. In this book, in Precalc, they use u sub 1, u sub 2. What's different?
The number, the letter.
Just the letter, A and a U. It's the same thing. So it doesn't matter, you could use an A, you could use a U, it doesn't matter. Okay, now, what, if I want to find the 6th term in the sequence, what am I going to do on this problem?
D back
I'm going to what?
up.
I'm going to add what?
4.
4. So I'm going to get 21. What if I want the 7th term? What am I going to do?
Add 4.
Add 4. What if I want the next term, the 8th term?
Add 4.
You're going to add 4. What you're doing is a recursive formula. The recursive formula says state the first term, and any term you want to find, it's the one previous, that n sub 1 means the previous to this one, so going back one term. The n is the term you're looking for. The n minus 1 is the one previous to that one. And then you add the common difference. So for this particular problem, you have to state the first term, which is 1.
Yeah.
And if you want to find any term in the sequence, you're going to add 4 to the previous term. That would be a recursive formula for this. Okay, so let's do A, B, and C at the bottom. Let's write a recursive formula for these. Make sure we can all do these together. Okay, so for A, and they're all arithmetic, so we don't have to say if it is or isn't. This is arithmetic. So from 2 to 4, from 4 to 6, what are we doing? We're going up by 2. So how do you write a recursive formula? We're concentrating on recursive. You state the first term, and then any term you want, it's the previous term, and you're going to add 2 to it. That would be your formula. Now, the only thing good about a recursive formula is that you want to find the next term in the sequence. So to find we have 5 right there. If you want the 6th term, all you have to do is add 2. And the next term, and the next term. You can keep adding 2. But if I want to find the 100th term, you're not going to want to do this tedious process of adding 2, adding 2, adding 2, adding 2. For this formula, you can't get the next term unless you know the previous one. So if I say what's the 100th term, you've got to figure out what the 99th term is to add 2 to that number. So we don't like this formula for the far out problems, okay? So we need to look at an explicit formula. But let's kick out the recursives for these two. So this one would be, the first term would be 0. And any term you want, you take the previous one, and you're gonna add what?
6.
6. Okay, and then this one, the first term, they give it to you as 2, and the previous term plus 3. So those are, recursive is very easy. It's just the terminology that might give you a little hang up. Now, for explicit, and there should be a little 1 here, to find any terms, kind of got blurry, to find any term in a sequence, all you need to do is take the first term and add, you're going to do n minus 1, so if I'm looking for the 50th term, you do 50 minus 1, so in other words, the 49th term, and you multiply it by the common difference. Okay, so let's practice this. Okay, A. How do you write, we're gonna write explicits now. Now we're concentrating on this one. So to find a formula, you gotta know the first term, which is 2, and you're gonna add n minus 1, whatever term you're looking for, and you're gonna multiply it by a 2. So this is the first term in the sequence, and this is the d value. They want you to simplify it. Can everyone do that? 2 times n, and then clean it up? Everyone can do that, right? Let's do it really quick. 2 times n is 2n minus 2. So in other words, 2n minus 2. So what's nice about this formula, if I want the 100th term, all I do is do 2 times 100 and then minus 2. And that's the answer. Try the next one. So I want an explicit formula. So you take the first term, which is 0, and you're going to add n minus 1 times the d value, which is 6. So let's distribute.
Miss Nadia?
Yeah.
For the first one, isn't that long then? Shouldn't it just be 2n? Because
Yeah.
the 2 and the negative 2 cancel out.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Just 2n. Thank you. Math error. Yeah, these two cancel out, guys. Thank you. Did I do that one right?
Yes.
6n minus 6, yep. And then the last one. First term is 2,
I'm sorry,
and then times 3. So this is 3n minus 3. Add 2 to that, so 3n minus 1. So what's nice about this formula, if I want the 100th term, I do 3 times 100 and then minus 1. Okay? Now, look at the next page. What if I want the 45th term? Here's my sequence. Should I add 4? Because you look at this really quick and you see D is, everyone sees D is 4, right? So if I add 4, I can get the 4th term, no problem. I can get the 5th term, no problem. I can get the 6th term, no problem. But the 45th term, are you going to sit there and add 4, add 4, add 4, add 4? What are you going to do? So to find the 45th term, this is what you're going to do. You're going to take the first term, and you're going to add 45 minus 1 times 4. That's it. Very simple. What do you get for an answer? Anyone?
So 181.
181. Got it. Okay, next one. This one gives you the 5th term. Let's look at this formula for a second. So out of this, what do we know? We know if we're looking for the 18th term, I know that that the fifth term is 27. I don't know the first term. So let's incorporate this and this to find a sub 1. So if I put the fifth term right here, is equal to 27. Does everybody understand what I just did? I'm gonna use this in here, in this formula, to find, I'm gonna do a sub 1 now. Let's do this in our head. What's 5 minus 1?
4.
What's 4 times 5?
20.
Subtract that from here, what do you get? So the first term, if I had to keep going back, I could do it the other way too. I could subtract 5, some people do that, but we've got algebra under our belt. We're gonna put a 7 here. So a sub 18, it's the first term, plus, I'm gonna put an 18 here, minus 1 times 5. Let's do this. What do you get? 17 times 5, and then plus 7. I got 92. You too? Awesome. Okay, we've got 2 more to do and we're done.
Yay.
So actually for homework, if you get up to 29, I'll be happy with that. So can everyone do 1 through 29 odd? And then some of them are really easy. And then the other part up to 43 will be for Monday. Okay, this will be a 2-day assignment. It's page 29. Here.
Off to number 29?
Yeah, go up to 29. We'll do 1 through 29 for tonight, and then we'll do the other part, so 31 to 43 on Monday. So I'll answer all your questions after that. Okay, let's finish this one. Did you get it? Here.
9, and then 31 to 43, Monday.
Okay, next. Check this out.
Yeah.
They tell you that the third term is 94. The third term is 94. And the sixth term is 85. Well, if the sequences are going up constantly by the same number, do you agree that the relationship is linear? If they're all increasing by the same number, it's a linear relationship. So would you agree that we could use the subscript as an x value? The third term is 94. So if we input the 3, we output a 94. So think of x and y. And this would be a 6 and an 85. What do you see happening here? We have 2 ordered pairs. What could you do to these ordered pairs to figure out something?
Got the slope.
Yeah, you got it, the slope. So what is 94 minus 85 over 3 minus 6?
9 over -3, so it's -3.
So what's happening here? This is going down by 3s, right? Did we do the math right? 94 minus 85, and then divided by -3, and you get -3. So what is -3? That's your D value. So think of M as D. Now what we're going to do is, like what we did over here in this last problem, use one of these to figure out the first term. Let's use that first just because it's first. So if the third term, we've got the third term, I'm not going to write that. I'm going to write 94 is equal to the first term in the sequence plus, I'm going to do, this is my x value, so 3 minus 1 times -3. What this is going to give me is my a sub 1 value. So what is 2 times -3? -6. Add 6 to this, what's the first term in the sequence? 100. So can you give me an equation right now? A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times -3. okay? Are you guys cool? And now the last one, and I'm done. Now they want the 45th term. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna say, okay, we've got 6 and 57, and we've got 10 and 93. What's my D value? What is 93 minus 57? 46, 39.
39.
Oh,
I'm gonna write it out for you guys. So this is 39, and this is 4.
I don't think mine's 57 is not.
Oh, I put 54, that's why, in my calculator. 93 minus 57 is 36. You were right, Brad.
I'll be here all week.
So what's your D value? 9. So now, which point do you want to use? Let's try this one. We've got 57 is equal to a sub 1 plus 6 minus 1 times 9. Okay, so what is 6 minus 1?
5.
What's 5 times 9?
45.
And now subtract 45, what do you get? A sub 1 is 12. So now, what we have is a formula. A sub n, it's the first term, plus n minus 1 times d, right? Well, I want the 45th term, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna put a 45 here, and we're gonna put the 9 as our common difference and do the math. So what's 44 times 9? And then
56. Plus 12.
plus 12,
48.
you get 408.
Got it.
Yes?
Yes.
408. The 45th term is 408. On Monday, I'm going to teach you how to sum up or review. I should say review because we did this last year. Have a great weekend.